All right, let's get right into it. What if I told you that financial freedom has almost nothing to do with how much money you make and everything to do with how much stuff you own? Now, this isn't about living with nothing. It's about understanding a hidden relationship between your possessions and your money that honestly, most of us just never see.
To really get this, I want you to picture something with me. Imagine two apartments. They're in the same building, in the same neighborhood, probably paying the exact same rent. But what's happening inside them tells two totally different stories. Two opposite stories about what it means to be financially secure.
So in apartment number 1, we've got someone pulling in 95 grand a year, and it looks like it. They've got the huge TV, the fancy sofa, closets that are just exploding with clothes. A lot of them still have the price tags on. But here's the catch. They are 2 paychecks away from total financial disaster. Then you walk next door. In apartment 2, someone's living on just $52,000 a year. It's simpler for sure, but here's the mind-blowing part. They have a year and a half of living expenses saved up. It makes no sense, right? The person earning almost half as much is 10 times more secure. How on earth is that even possible?
And that right there is the heart of the whole thing. The real difference isn't the salary, not even close. It's that the second person has stumbled upon a secret about the true cost of their stuff, a cost that goes way, way beyond the number on the price tag.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on this hidden cost. Because I'm telling you, it's one of those ideas that once you see it, you can never unsee it again. It will absolutely change the way you look at every single thing you think about buying.
You know, here's the trap pretty much all of us fall into. We think something costs us money one time when we buy it, but that's not true. Every single item actually costs you money twice. The first cost, that's obvious. It's the price at the checkout. But then there's the second cost. This is the invisible, slow-leaking drain on your finances. It's the ongoing price of just owning something. And frankly, it's where most of our wealth just vanishes. So this second cost isn't just one thing. It's actually made up of 4 sneaky parts. You've got the cost to store it, and yeah, the space in your home isn't free. Then there's the cost to maintain it, all the upkeep and repairs. Then there's the mental energy it sucks up, the little piece of your brain that everything you own occupies. And finally, the big one, the massive opportunity cost, which is just a fancy way of saying what else could that money have been doing for you?
Let's just take storage for a second. Think about that treadmill you bought with the best intentions. It takes up, 20 square feet? Well, in a lot of cities, the rent on that little patch of your home could be worth up to $1,000 a year. You are literally paying rent to store something that's probably just a glorified laundry rack at this point. And then there's maintenance. Ah, man. A good rule of thumb, say, for a boat is that the annual upkeep, we're talking storage, insurance, repairs, the whole shebang, is going to run you about 10% of what you paid for it every single year. So that $30,000 boat, it's silently siphoning another $3 grand from your bank account every year, just for the privilege of owning it.
But it's not even all about the money. Every single item you own takes up a little bit of your attention. You've got to clean it, organize it, worry about it. It's been shown that visual clutter actually increases cortisol. That's the stress hormone. So yeah, your possessions are literally, scientifically, creating a low-level hum of stress in your life that you might not even be aware of.
But okay, this last one, this is the real kicker. Opportunity cost. Let's say you spent 15 grand on a really nice home gym. Awesome. But what if you'd invested that 15 grand in a simple index fund instead? Well, in about 15 years, it could have grown to over $50,000. Let that sink in for a second. You didn't just buy some gym equipment. You traded it for a huge chunk of your own future financial freedom.
So that's the problem. It's kind of depressing, right? But the good news is there's a way to fight back. People who figured this out use a simple set of rules that completely change their mindset and their buying habits. So let's look at the first few.
All right, rule number 1 is a total game changer. Always think in cost per use. Just look at this example. You buy a cheap, trendy jacket for $200. You wear it twice before it's out of style. That means it cost you $100 every time you wore it. Now compare that to a classic, high-quality jacket for $400. You wear that thing 200 times over the next decade. All of a sudden, its cost per use is just $2. The more expensive jacket is actually ridiculously cheaper. This simple bit of math reveals what true value really is. Okay, rule number 2 is a question, and it's a powerful one. It's called the replacement test. Go through your stuff, and for every item, ask yourself this. If this thing vanished right now, would I actually go out and spend my hard-earned money to buy it again? You know, that bread maker you used once, that fondue set? Be honest. If the answer is no,
You've just found something that isn't a possession, it's just clutter, and it's actively costing you.
Let's be real. Willpower is a myth. It runs out, it fails us. So stop relying on it. You have to engineer your environment for success. It's about building better systems. Make spending harder. Delete the shopping apps from your phone. Create a 24-hour waiting period before you buy anything non-essential. At the same time, make saving ridiculously easy. Automate it. Set up transfers to your savings or investment accounts for the day you get paid. You want to design a system where the right choice is the easiest choice you can make.
Okay, so once you start getting your buying habits under control, how do you keep it going? Well, this next set of rules is all about maintenance and about protecting your newfound progress by setting some really clear boundaries for yourself.
Now, this next one. This is a trap that gets so many people, especially high earners. They never define what enough actually looks like. So as their income goes up, their spending goes up right along with it. It's a phenomenon called lifestyle creep, and it's like running on a treadmill that you just keep speeding up. You're working harder, but you're not getting anywhere. The only way to win is to get off the treadmill. You have to decide in advance what sufficient looks like for you. You have to create your own finish line. Once you reach it, every extra dollar you earn can go straight to buying your freedom, not just more stuff. And that's when you can completely reframe your entire definition of wealth. See, it's not about accumulation. It's not about having more. It's about having more optionality. Can you quit that job you hate? Can you afford to take 6 months off to go travel? Can you start that business you've been dreaming about? That freedom, that power of choice, that is true wealth. And it's only possible when you create a big, healthy gap between what you earn and what you spend.
And when you put all these rules into practice, something really amazing starts to happen. You don't just save a little more money. You kickstart a powerful, self-reinforcing cycle that just automatically starts building wealth and security for you over time.
See, pretty much everyone is in one of two feedback loops, whether they realize it or not. Most people are stuck in the destructive one. They spend everything they make, which makes them feel insecure. That insecurity then drives them to spend even more for a quick hit of relief, which of course just leads to deeper insecurity. It's a downward spiral. But these minimalist rules, they flip you into the virtuous cycle. When you spend less, you can save more. When you save more, you feel genuinely secure. And when you feel secure, that emotional need to spend for comfort just fades away. And that just accelerates your whole journey to freedom. So the whole goal here is to consciously shift yourself from that destructive cycle into the virtuous one. The big question then is, how do you actually start? And look, the key is not to get overwhelmed and try to change everything overnight. It's about taking small, consistent steps that build momentum. Here's a simple plan you can start like today. This week, just find 10 things in your house that fail the replacement test and get rid of them. This month, commit to that 24-hour waiting rule for any purchase that isn't a true necessity. This quarter, pick 3 categories of stuff you own, like t-shirts or books or coffee mugs. Count them and set a hard limit. And then, sometime this year, do the deep work. Sit down and actually write out what enough really means to you. These are small actions, but I promise you, they compound into massive, life-altering change.
When you strip it all the way, it really boils down to this one simple question. Just think back to those 2 apartments. The person with less stuff actually had more life, more security, and way more freedom. They made a choice to own their possessions instead of letting their possessions own them. In the end, that choice is yours to make, and it has so much less to do with your paycheck than you've been led to believe and everything to do with your mindset.